Today's Japanese slang term is moji paneru. Now, this is the third stage in a kind of evolution of oshikatsu practices. You can think of it as like the final Pokemon evolution, as this is a clear development from what are known as oshikatsu utsuwa, kanpei utsuwa, or fansa uchiwa. These are very popular and have been popular for quite some time, but the problem, of course, is that they're a bit small, so people decided to make larger things known as renketsu uchiwa, or connective uchiwa. Now, the problem with renketsu uchiwa is that they are not uchiwa, they are not fans at all. Fans use them, haha, but they are pieces of paper kind of stuck together that are used like the oshikatsu uchiwa to send messages to an idol, a VTuber, someone you like, etc. Well, Google Trends says that this term took off in 2021. It seems to be quite out of date, as there have been uses of this since at least 2011, and there are plenty of even just like TikTok guides to making these kinds of so-called uchiwa. Well, I suppose it's Japanese, so so-called uchiwa. But this video isn't about renketsu uchiwa. They're just the Charmeleon to our Charizard, which is moji paneru. Now, moji paneru are the next step in this kind of oshikatsu practice, and one that involves generally less glue and tape, in that instead of printing off a number of pieces of paper, what you're going to do is just get a big panel, potentially cut it into the size or shape you want, and then decorate it or print things, put it on, etc., and then bring it to your oshikatsu activity, your concert, etc. Here are some very, very clear examples. And as you can see, yeah, they can be very, very kind of handmade, almost like a sign you take to a protest or a school event. But these ones are definitely on the smaller side. Larger scale ones that are made with stronger materials are quite common as well. And definitely that text style with sort of the bubbly text that often has a bit of a sparkle to it, some kind of neon pastel color, is very, very common in the stereotypical moji paneru. That said, while traditionally the difference between the renketsu uchiwa and the moji paneru is that the renketsu uchiwa is kind of stuck together, hence the connection, in reality, in how these terms are used in 2024, the difference between them is becoming quite blurred. In a lot of cases, I can't really find out why one person is using a term over another, and Googling didn't help me at all either. In these examples, which people call moji paneru, you can see in the first one, the anju there clearly has some connectors, so it is renketsu, and the other one is literally two things that are being held up on each side, so they are not connected. Why are these moji paneru instead of renketsu uchiwa? I don't know, but that's what they're being called. Contrast here, you can see 4 pictures where they're being called renketsu uchiwa, but have no renketsu. They are single, distinct things that are printed off. Traditionally, at least, strictly, I would say these are moji paneru. In fact, some people are even just calling them renketsu uchiwa moji paneru, and just giving up on any kind of division whatsoever. And so, as a sociolinguist, I have to go with what people are using. Descriptivist, not a prescriptivist, so we just have to go with what's happening. Indeed, most damningly, websites that sell these things, yeah, making them yourself is a key part of oshikatsu, but these are popular enough now that companies are making them and producing them, and they're using renketsu uchiwa and moji paneru in the same advertisements, so they're clearly trying to sell the same item to people searching for both terms. And once that happens, I think we're in the place where the line between these has become very blurred. That said, I do stress that I think at one time these were heavily distinct because the dates for when they started being used are different. As you saw earlier, renketsu uchiwa has been in use for over a decade. And now Google Trends seems to show that moji paneru has also been in use since the same time and has always trailed ahead of renketsu uchiwa in terms of popularity, but this is not the case. The reason why the data looks like this is that a moji paneru can just be any panel with moji on it. And if you go back onto Twitter, etc., back to 2012, 2011, you can find uses of moji paneru, but they're not the oshikatsu ones we're talking about. They're just panels of moji. Indeed, this screenshot here is a set of images from Twitter between 2012 and 2018, and while you can see there are a lot of panels, and there's a lot of moji on them, none of them are the moji paneru I've been talking about so far. I could not find a single photo of the type of moji paneru I've been discussing until 2019. Now, there were a lot at this time. I'm not saying that 2019 was the absolute start date, but my guess is that people have been searching for panels of moji since 2012, but it took until about 2018, 2019 for moji paneru to become part of oshikatsu and develop this new meaning, whereas renketsu uchiwa have been in use throughout this entire time. And if we go back to that Google Trends chart, you can see around 2019, 2020 is when both moji paneru and renketsu uchiwa start to go up, so I think their fates are kind of intertwined. And indeed, there's no question that both of these are key parts of oshikatsu practice in Japan right now, so my advice would be don't worry about whether you've made/bought a renketsu uchiwa or moji paneru, because the important thing, of course, isn't what these are called, but that people are having fun making them. So don't let any weird debates over definition prevent that from happening to you. See you next time.